just hold on, just wait on just now, Dawn, just a damn minute, just hang on. These damn kids are already recording again. God damn it, just go on and get. And here I am, just another Thursday, trying to figure out what it is that I'm gonna be doing. And behind me, I got my good old 3D printer, and as you see, this is being not made for weapons of war. This is only being used to make Christmas trees. That is why I have a 3D printer, but it all begins in Mexico.
Let us get 2 house margaritas frozen on the rocks.
I'm showing photos and pictures from my trip. I was in Mexico. And we're not going to be trying to explain this together because these are all pictures from my trip in Mexico, so I'm not guessing as to what's coming up. Ah, yes. This is the day before we left for Mexico. This was, yes, this too was in Mexico.
I've learned over the course of the last month that I've been away. I learned how to do this. I made this whole thing. I'm calling it the Little Black Book, even though it is not primarily black. And it's mainly a cream colored book. But could you imagine like the Little Cream Book? That would just be weird, right? So I called it the Little Black Book because the letters on it are in black and the whole thing is basically in black and white. And this is a prototype of what I am planning for actual monthly issues of the Little Black Book to be. This was not the original idea that I had for this book. I wanted it to be a collection of the short stories that I currently have written. And the more that I was thinking about it, the more that sounded less fun. Like, it would be fun for me to write it, but I don't think it would be as fun for people to read it. And with me having taken all these writing courses up until now, there are so many brilliant ideas that other people in my class have had for their writing. And some of them have wonderful prose, and so I figured, what the hell, let's see if we can try to become legit. So Fundamentally Correct Publishing is now a physical print edition. Work. If you would like to have yourself put into the print edition, or if I end up recording a video recording of a reading of it, I will compensate you with a payment of $20 to $100, which I know is not a lot, but you get to say that you've been published. And you also get a free one of these, which this is incredibly small. But it was just to prove that I could do it. Right now I can make these up to probably around 300 pages. That's what I'm thinking I can probably do. So yeah, if you want to see yourself in here, and if I come across a page where there is notable imagery that I've drawn into it, I will hold it up to the camera so you can see it. I do not plan on uploading a PDF of this to my website because I would very much like to keep this traditional. Because imagine going to go check the mail and you get this nice handmade book in the mail every single month. And I can have new people appear in the work, and they can have their work be enjoyed by other people too. And so, yeah. Moving on to the reading. So this has, I will begin by just reading the back of it. This is the back cover. We have the featured author, Andrew Tyree. Who would have guessed? Not me. And so, hello, and thank you for taking the time to read this month's issue. I hope that it brings you as much joy to read it as it did for me to put it all together for you. In this month's issue, we have A Void for a Stage, a real page-turner following the story of John, an astronaut lost to the depths of space and left for inevitable death. But before we get to that, we start with a poem titled Decisions, something I think helped me make up my own damn mind. Lastly, there's a think piece over the philosophy of politics, and I know the topic sounds boring, but the writing sure as hell makes up for it. As to who I am, I'm currently a student at UCCS, studying human physiology and nutrition in English. I'm originally from Tennessee, and I moved to Colorado in late 2017 after getting stationed at Fort Carson. I like to learn new things and avoid TikTok in my free time. Hope to see you again. Opening up the book, this is the first page. Also, this is the spine of it. I don't know how well this is going to appear on the camera, especially because I have defocus on. There we go. I think that's focused on it. So yeah, this is the book, and here is the first page. The Little Black Book, edition 3B, March 2026. Copyright and publishing information. The works published in this collection are the original creation of Andrew Tyree. Fictional pieces are works of Andrew Tyree's imagination. Any resemblance to any real people, places, or events are purely coincidental. No part of this publication may be reproduced, distributed, or transmitted without written permission, and no use of generative artificial intelligence was involved in the creation or development of these works. The Little Black Book, edition 3B, March 2026. 2026 copyright, fundamentally correct publishing, all rights reserved. To Otto, I wouldn't be here without you, bud. You're the best boy a man could ever ask for. And he is. Forward. I've always wanted to be a writer. I may have forgotten that at some points along the way, but nonetheless, it has always been my final goal. The story in this book that you're about to read, A Void for a Stage, is what I would consider to be the best short story that I have written so far. I have obsessed over trying to make this work the best that I can for you to enjoy, and I hope that I accomplish that by the end of your reading. I know the formatting of this book may be a little eccentric, including the physical production of it, but all of these things seem to me like they should go together. There isn't much that I feel like I need to add, so I would like to end this by thanking you for taking the time to read my writing. Shh. And then this is the opening graphic. moving on to the poem that is present. It is titled Decisions. Teetering on the edge of demise, I peer out into the expanse. The embers of a dulled flame barely linger as I am compelled to gaze at their beauty. Destruction is not the absence of creation, you say, for what lies in the rubble is art yet to sprout. So what is the edge of demise then, if not an unrecognized chance to start? Should I feed the embers barely clinging to life? An insatiable desire they are, calling to make the dive. My feet hurt from balancing on this ledge for so long, awaiting the decision to take the plunge or retreat. Is retreating the presence of failure? I demand to know. Yet the answer remains as ambiguous as the preceding walk. Whether the answer is yes or no, it does not matter, for my ledge is only as high as I make it to be. Coming up next, we have the fiction story that is present in this little booklet called A Void for a Stage. Here is this wonderful piece of art. Mayday, mayday, please report. The speaker stashed in the nylon lining of my suit crackled and buzzed. A faint aura of red fanned up from the emergency light studding my collar while a sharp pain pulsed in my temple. Thinking felt nearly impossible, but that didn't make it any easier to forget my reality. I knew I was alone. Mayday, mayday, please report. Fucking Christ! My hand sluggishly bounced against the polycarbonate of my helmet. Hello? The words slurred against my busted lips. I fought against the perpetual spin the blast had left me in, knowing I was only fighting the inevitable, especially with a mass expanse of space staring blankly back at me through the suit's visor. Almost like I was a forgotten prisoner left to the mercy of God's abyssal creation. Mayday, mayday, please report! I already did! You assholes ain't answering! A stab in my ribs locked my chest up. A few more grunts and insults later, I realized my control panel had been flashing no contact in bright red letters this whole time. Maybe I just didn't want to notice it past the pain of the control module immolated to the charred, frozen nub where my wrist used to be. I was surprised the injury didn't immediately decompress the suit and rip my intestines through my cold hand or empty colon. Hell, part of me wished it had. Mayday, mayday, please report! Computer! Oh! Immense pain sheared my ribs as each word escaped my lips. This was my own death by 1,000 cuts as glass shards of bone sewed into my chest with every shallow breath. Command not recognized. Please try again. Fuck! I coughed as the pain stoked itself further. Every 7 seconds I would spin around to see Titan, the little orange ball I've been calling home for the last 17 years, shrinking into the shroud surrounding me. I felt blood spooling around in my skull. The same damn skull that convinced the board of directors I wouldn't fuck a mission up this badly, and damn did it swirl. The stars began to bleed into one another to make the universe's loneliest waltz out of my catastrophe. Reminded me of Marissa. Computer on. I managed to choke out. Welcome, Astronaut John. How can I assist you today? The sweet robotic voice buzzed from the intercom of the suit. The blue, crackling light of the interface nearly blinded me as it flickered onto a bright NASA engineering loading screen. Shut up. Enable. A small splatter of blood spewed across the screen as I coughed. Enable eye tracking. Order received, Astronaut John. Enabling eye tracking. A tiny cursor hovered in front of my eyes. In bold black letters at the top right corner of the visor flashed a no signal message as I scanned through the rest of the messy desktop's contents. Manuals, no. Comms, fucked anyway. Personals, brilliant. Before we left Earth, the geeks rounded us all up and had us go through a psych eval for our grave conditioning. They figured if we ever got lost to the depths of space, we were probably going to want to keep ourselves entertained enough to keep from ripping our helmets off. They wanted it to be something not so specific that you'd remember it after you picked it, but not something so forgettable you wouldn't be able to put yourself back in it. I double blinked and my NASA-approved 3 gigabyte collection of my life appeared. I clicked to see the only file in the folder, Fall 1998. It opened itself to show 3 video files. I Don't Want to Miss a Thing.mp4, renfair-98.jpg, and larger than life bb.mp3. I accidentally deleted larger than life.mp3 trying to select the first file. Oh well, probably nothing important anyway. An old digitized VHS tape slowly loaded in as I finally selected the MP4 file. The static cleared and showed a faint familiar scene from the apartment my grandparents helped me rent during my PhD program at Kansas City University. John, won't you point that darn camera over here, please? Marissa's cherry sweet voice crackled just beyond the frame. You don't need to be saying it all like that just to get me to look at you, darling. I heard myself laugh. The camera panned to a then young Marissa sitting cross-legged on the couch with a massive bowl of an unknown brown mass bathed in the soft golden sunlight peeking through the open window of my apartment. Ain't it perfect, John? She said with gleaming eyes to the camera, anticipating my approval. It's ginger pork. Perfect's the only word that I can find. My voice radiated behind the camera. Hearing her voice again made me feel like a pirate stumbling across their old hidden treasure. The camera turned on to an awkward close-up of the boogers stuffed in my nose before I sat on the floor, pointed at her feet. There's something that I've been needing to talk with you about. That damn solemn tone she would always get, even about all the small things. It hurt to laugh in the past, and I sighed at the same time. What's up, lovely? I asked. Marissa turned away from the camera and held her face in her hands. I used someone else's recipe, she trailed with the melodramatic sob of a Hallmark movie. Even though the video cut off the moment she finished her sentence, I already knew what came next. Something specific I've known only to her. You make everything better anyway. The video player closed automatically and left me on the screen with the surviving 2 files once again. I wanted to replay the video again just to savor it one more time, but the warning low oxygen message on my screen made me rethink my priorities. If I was going out, I wanted to at least experience some of the niceties of the human condition one last time. I spent the next 15% of my oxygen watching some videos of my dog growing into my best friend and grimacing at the few photos from my brother's Margaritaville-themed wedding. I left in the folder. Good times. Just before the user interface shut off to preserve the suit's life support, I clicked on the last file from Fall 1998, renfair-98.jpg. It was a photo of Marissa and I at the only Renaissance fair we ever attended. Her petite frame had been wrapped in a blue floral gown with a neon red petticoat stashed underneath the garment to hide the beautiful pallor of her legs left unkissed by the sun. She had the most vivacious makeup on her face that screamed her elegance, and the jewelry on her ears and fingers glowed in the sun like the caramelized amber of ginger pork. It was a beautiful day that I had always wanted to forget but was too much of a coward to really abandon. I sighed and stared back at the abyss, waiting to add me to its collection. Warning, oxygen depleted. Find shelter. The speaker crackled one last time. I took a deep, long breath. I knew it would be about 2 minutes before I would start clawing at my neck to fight the negative balance left in my life support account. My eyelids softly shut as I embraced the last moments of peace my blood would afford. That was about 60 seconds, right? The first book of Ralph, written by Ralph, translated by Andrew Tyree. Chapter 1. Hear ye, for I, the mighty Randolph the Ran-Through, have come upon another testament, another revelation, if you will, of not that of the holy Jesus Christ, but of the Father Almighty himself. Fear not. For with this testament comes the final revelation of God the Savior and the Holy Spirit. Behold, brothers, I pray unto thee. I am in possession of a blessed fortune, a measure of wealth far deeper than the cosmos and more stirring than the gaze of a spouse. Yes, this fortune comes through I and I alone. And should thee question these blessed words, so be it. Your blessed Father seeks investigation. A blessed body espouses a blessed mind, and the blessed mind is that of wisdom. Wisdom bears no place in the home of the wicked, for they are scornful, petty things only of the self, existing solely in vain. Yet the wicked too possess this blessed fortune. But that wisdom may come free, nor is it past, nor shall it ever be. I speak unto thee a secret, for thine eyes to behold, for this revelation comes without regard to former testimonies of my Father's word. As testimony created by man, dispersed by man, and translated by man, may never be wholly good nor wholly right. So says I, Ralph, the creator of the Book of Ralph. Chapter 2. Due to this being a modern proselytizing of God, I will speak to you as though we are equals, though I promise you, dear mortal, that I, Randolph the Ran-Through, am your superior in every conscionable way. Approach my words with meekness and humility, for your little years upon this earth bear far less worth to my time under its ground. I call upon thee, Mephistopheles, to make our deal. A deal with the devil is worth that of a soul, but a deal between demons is just another Tuesday. Oh, Jesus Christ, Ralph, what is it this time? And so says Mephistopheles, though his feet are the hoof of a goat, he answers by becking with such swiftness. Ralph,